All right, this next lecture, I wanted to hit a little bit on taking clients' stuff with you out of the office, as well as what is okay to talk to other people about. So one of the things that I'm sure all of y'all will come in contact with as you start to see clients, and I'm sure many of you have even as you've worked as volunteers or in a ministry type setting, is that we have this tendency to see a client, to hear their issues, and then to ruminate on them ourselves, to take those clients home with us, to take them to bed with us sometimes, not in a sexual way, but just thinking, what is it that I can help them with? What do they need to do? How can I encourage them? How can I challenge them? Or maybe you're weeping for them because they're going through a really, really horrific situation. And while that might suggest that you are very empathetic and others oriented, I actually think that that's a boundary issue in the sense of we're kind of playing God in that sense. We're going, hey, you know what? It's my job to think about them. It's my job to come up with solutions for them, to take care of them, rather than at the end of their session, essentially committing them into the Lord's hand and saying, okay, God, I've been your vessel for this hour here. It's back to you. Like you've got to take it. You were using me in that session. Continue to do the work that you need to do in their lives and allow me to release myself from that until the next time that I see them again. But that can be very difficult to do, and it's something that I constantly have to check myself on. And I go through periods of time where it's really good and I'm not bringing anything home, and then other periods of time where it's like I'll find myself up late at night just thinking and thinking and thinking about certain clients. So a couple things that I wanted to talk about and just some tools that I wanted to give you in helping in that area is recognizing, kind of already alluded to this, but recognizing that your job as a therapist actually is not to solve their problems. It's not to fix everything. Our job is to simply be present with them, to ask questions, to challenge, to encourage, to do all of those sorts of things, to support. But our job is not to fix them. And sometimes when we take stuff with it, it's because we view it as our job to fix them. I remember somebody saying to me or asking me one time if I was devastated if a couple that I was working with were to get divorced. Now, while I don't love divorce, and I wouldn't want that for anybody, I also don't view it as unsuccessful in a therapeutic sense on my end if a couple gets divorced. Because ultimately, I see them for 1 hour a week, and they have the choice then to do or not do what we've talked about in our therapy session. I see them 1 hour out of many, many hours in a week. And so while I want to fight for their marriage with them, if they choose divorce, I can, out of my values, out of my spiritual awareness, know that I gave to them everything that I could in that hour, and that their decision is their decision. So just like I don't take on if a couple gets a divorce, I also don't feel as though it is a pat on my back if a couple starts to do really well. Now, the first couple I ever started working with in private practice came into me the first day, and they had been together for a while. They were dating. And they were just not sure if they wanted to get married. They said that they felt more like roommates than they did partners, and they wanted help. And so this couple was fabulous. They worked and worked and worked so hard and were such a joy to be able to work with. And about a year after we started our counseling, they decided to get engaged. And I have to tell you, therapeutically, it was one of the most celebratory moments for me as a therapist. But it wasn't because I was proud of myself. It was because I was like a proud parent. It was like I had been able to watch this couple work so hard, and I got to bear witness to that my celebration was for all the work that they had done. That wasn't a pat on the back to me. It wasn't anything that I did. It was because they chose to work. So you see that our job as therapists is not to fix people's problems, but rather to encourage and support them through that process. Now, people talk a lot about confidentiality. What are we allowed to talk about outside of sessions? I'm sure you guys have gone, is it even okay that she tells us about her clients? And the answer is yes, because really, when it boils down to it, y'all have no idea who I'm talking about. In fact, I'll even tell you that I've made up certain things before in order to, well, I haven't made them up in a lie, but I might have interjected certain things to prove a point. It's just for educational purposes. But all that to say, the information that I give you guys is not identifying information. I've never spoken their names, and if I have said a name, it has not been their actual name. And I've usually been pretty clear to let y'all know that. I've never given any sort of identifying information that you might be able to somehow find them online. So, that being said, it is okay to talk to other people as you deem appropriate about some of the clients that you're seeing. For instance, sometimes it really can be helpful to talk through a specific case with somebody, or to just kind of vent and say, hey, you know what, a lot's been on my mind, I need to get this off my chest, with somebody who's trusted. That is okay. However, I would encourage you not to make it a habit of talking about your clients all the time, because what that does is it does start to intrude on your personal life. If you're just talking about your clients and their issues all the time, it doesn't necessarily give you time to be thinking and doing what you need to do and having conversations with the people that you need to have conversations with about them and their lives. So, you absolutely can talk to people. You just need to be very, very careful. You need to maintain confidentiality and also recognize what is appropriate to share and what is not appropriate to share.